All right, guys, now we are in lesson 101C, and in this lesson, we're going to work with three new uh, exponent laws or rules of exponents or exponent rules. And the three new rules are power of a power, power of a product, and power of a quotient. And also, most likely, we're going to be using the negative exponent rules and maybe some other rules that we have seen in 101A and 101B. So in this video, I'm going to do problem number one and number two, okay? So in this problem, number one, they're asking you to, again, generate an equivalent expression with the following exponential expression. Now, something very interesting in this lesson that you're going to notice is that you're going to see parentheses involved, okay? And in the exponential expression in the math problem. And every time you see parentheses, you're going to be using, again, one of these rules that I highlighted in yellow. Okay, now how do you know which one you're going to use? It all depends what is inside the parentheses. So in this problem, I have only, if you look in the parentheses, you're going to see that inside the parentheses, we only have one base. Okay, and when you only have one base, you're working with the power of a power rule. Okay, and basically that rule says every time you have a base that contains an exponent raised to another exponent, what you're going to do is you're going to keep the base. I'm going to keep the 7 because 7 is my base. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply the exponents. Okay, I'm going to multiply. So using your calculator, -1 times -10 is +10. And that's my answer. Okay, don't try to use the calculator here like I mentioned in the previous lesson. If you use the calculator, I'm going to show you here, 7 to the power of 10, you're going to get a big number. Most likely it's going to be written in scientific notation, something we're going to learn later on. The only thing they're asking you here is to generate an equivalent expression. In other words, rewrite the problem in another way, not simplified, in another way, such that both expressions are exactly the same. So, final answer for problem number one, 7 to the 10th power. You may have a similar problem, okay? Let's go to problem number two. Basically the same idea. In problem number two, we have 10 parentheses, 10 to the 7th power raised to the -11 power. Here we go again. We have a parentheses. Inside the parentheses, we only have one base, which is the 10. And I hope you see an exponent raised by another exponent. That's the power of a power rule. And basically that rule says every time you have a power, okay, a base with an exponent raised to another exponent, you're going to keep the base. I'm going to keep the 10. And what you're going to do, you're going to multiply the exponent. 7 times -11, use the calculator, that will be -77. Now, you never leave in algebra and pre-algebra and also in algebra, you never leave your answer with a negative exponent. That's why we're going to apply this rule. Okay, so here's the review. Every time you have a negative exponent, basically what you're going to do is the reciprocal of the base. 10, if I write it as a fraction, it will be 10 over 1. And because it has a negative exponent, it means I'm going to flip the base. 10 over 1 becomes 1 over 10. And then return the exponent back to the base 10. But the exponent now is going to be positive. And that will be your final answer for that question. Okay, I hope this helps.